Neptune, the planet of spirituality, meets up with Pluto, the planet of transformation. So when they come together, this is not about spiritual awakening, it is about spiritual transformation, but through confronting and facing the shadow. And hi everyone, I'm Amia from Resonance Astrology. This is the last part of a larger series that I just did on dissecting every single aspect from the Barbo basket constellation. We talked in the beginning about Uranus, Neptune together, then about Uranus and Pluto together. We talked about Jupiter, Pluto. We talked about Jupiter, Uranus, and Jupiter, Neptune. And now we are going to be talking about Neptune and Pluto because that's what's left in the basket. So anyhow, if you want to watch this series from beginning, because literally every video is still very, very much relevant, there is a playlist I created called Archetypal Deep Dives, and you can watch it all on there. And I actually recommend it even, right? Because you will find overlaps, but all of them are going to make also sense standalone. And my aim really here was to, instead of grouping it all together, is to kind of take things apart and then make it make more sense. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So let's get into Pluto, Neptune. They are meeting up in a sextile. Neptune in Aries, by the way, and Pluto in Aquarius. And once again, I want to give credit where credit is due. A lot of the inspiration is coming from the Archetypal Universe by Rem Butler, one of my favorite astrology cookbooks. So yeah. So for me, one of the central threads with both of these coming together is the instinct to face and take responsibility for one's shadow material, leading to more profound spirituality. Because this is not a love and light type of transit. It's also not a manifest your dream type of transit. It's really like the deeper we descend into ourselves, the more authentic our spirituality can become. Because Neptune's standalone, and we can even look back at Neptune's whole stay in the sign of Pisces. That was when the boom of modern day spirituality became a huge thing on Instagram. And ever since Neptune moved into Aries, we have been seeing a much deeper urge to face the real thing, the raw thing people want in real life, not just out there. You know, Neptune and Pisces and Neptune Aries are two different energies. And then when Pluto in Aquarius chimes in, there is a liberation that we are hoping that is coming through the collective. So it's almost as if the collective needs to rethink spirituality from the ground up and do what I would say most of us have been trying to say for the longest time. You know, it's like facing the shadows, like true shadow work. Not spiritual bypassing, but true, honest, real shadow work. You know, and an ability to see through the deliteralization, the death, rebirth struggle. And like not take it from something literal, but to something that can be symbolic. Because sometimes when Pluto comes, it can feel very literal because Pluto is these primal fears. Pluto often brings up these primal fears in us, and it can feel like, oh, my life is ending. I'm losing everything. My identity is collapsing. I'm not feeling safe anymore. But then Neptune, I feel like beautifully comes in here and is like, maybe that's not literal. Maybe you can see this in a symbolic lens. Maybe this is an initiation. And for me, that's very fascinating because we can literally ritualize anything. So if you are finding yourself in a situation where this is happening, try to look at it from a symbolic perspective. It's the same thing when we do tarot and we pull the death card. So often it is not talking about literal death. It is talking about a transformation, a letting go of, an ending. Right? So I think this is what Neptune and Pluto together are kind of bringing to the forefront. Okay, then let's talk about repressed emotions opening or widening the pathway to divine consciousness. I mean, that's just, wow, that is a sentence. Because what that really means is that healing isn't separate from spirituality. Healing is spirituality. That is the path of healing. And for me, that is a very different message than bypassing pain, which a lot of modern day spirituality consciously or unconsciously kind of does, because it can go to this kind of like puritanical way of like, oh, that is like low vibe. But Neptune and Pluto together are like, no. By facing that, that is the spiritual path. The descent is the spiritual path. Yes, and there's a lot that can actually be done down there. And then you can, you rise rooted. I think that's a beautiful statement here. And then also this, the dissolving of obsessions, because Pluto can oftentimes talk about our obsessions or the things we like keep on looping around. And the Neptune has this quality of bringing in a dissolvement. So instead of feeling like I need to control, this can also bring in the quality of I can finally let go of something that I have been trying to control for a long, long time. I'm actually noticing this in my body. I don't always bring in personal examples, but this one is so poignant because it's happening in my life right now. It's happening across my 6th and my 4th house axis. So, and for me, I love to reframe the 4th house as not just the home, like the building that I'm living in. For me, it's the body. Really, truly, the body, the home that my soul is inhabitant of. And since it's also affecting my 6th house, the house of like health and daily routines and everything, one thing that came up for me this morning is that out of nowhere, I suddenly went into this extreme existential crisis around money and funding and just being like, oh my gosh, like there's not enough, like even though there is enough, but I can't shake off this feeling like I'm just so tense as if something is going to be taken away from me. And then I went to the forest to calm down and just move my body, right? Be in movement, because these energies are requiring us to move. So, and when I was there, I was like, okay, let me do these exercises where I can like go back into my body. And then I kind of went down to my like root chakra, which really is the place around safety and everything. And I was like, gosh, I'm tensing so much. And I just, no matter what I do, no matter how I stretch, I just can't fully release that tension. And then somehow I came across a few YouTube videos, and they explained something to me that I never thought about before. And I made some connections to my health and this feeling of safety that I haven't made before. And that was like so groundbreaking for me. And I was like, yes, I need to do these activations on a daily basis because it's an inside job. First and foremost, it's an inside job. And I'm not saying that, you can just get out of survival mode like this if your outer circumstances are preventing you from that. Regardless, it is self-responsibility as much as you can. And that's Saturn and Aries as well chiming in here, to take care of your physical and mental well-being, because we cannot expect the outer world to create safety for us. So we need to go within, right? And that's Jupiter and Leo in this whole constellation here as well. It starts from within. And I'm sorry, I'm repeating this again, but sometimes we need repetition, right? That is like the change starts from within. Be the change you wish to see. Okay. And then I also like that Rem Butler talks here about serenity within change, because that's such a beautiful way for me to describe this Neptune sextile Pluto, because Pluto obviously still transforms and Neptune changes our relationship to that transformation. So instead of fighting death, metaphorically, we begin flowing with life's cycles. And he also talks here about the one remains, the many change and pass. And I really like that. That kind of sums it up for me really well, because Pluto constantly changes forms, right? And so Neptune remembers what underlies all of these forms. Like, why are we doing this? Well, to get back to the one. We oftentimes forget. I feel like this is a big part where we maybe remember. As always, guys, we have to talk about the shadow here as well, because we want to look at all these aspects from multiple sides. And I think it's just, I want to be real with you to also talk about that. So he's talking here about addiction, which really for me, I can totally see how that would be a shadow, because the opposite, something that really stuck with me that someone once said, and I really don't know who it is, I believe maybe Gabor Mate, but I'm not sure, is that the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. We can only be addicted to something if we are not connected. Think back on your life, or maybe you are in such a phase right now. If you are addicted to something, you're lacking connection. It does not just have to be drugs, by the way, guys. It can be anything. It can be limerence, for all that I know. It can be addiction to your phone. Because why are you on your phone? Because you're missing connection in real life. If it is with God, if it is within yourself, if it is with actual people around you, connection is what is missing. That is the only way that you can even become addicted. If you have connection, if you are connected, there is absolutely no reason for you to go into addiction at all. It vanishes. That urge to go and do substances, if you are truly, genuinely, okay, I'm not talking about trauma bonds, because I swear somebody's going to comment here like, oh, but like it's so easy to be addicted with trauma bonds. And I'm like, yeah, that's not the like, that's not what I'm talking about. And even there, like you're not actually connecting, you're trauma bonding, okay? So then craving transcendence, I think that also makes a lot of sense here, because we can have, like, if Neptune and Pluto come together and Pluto brings this like obsessive quality, it can be like this urge to be like, no, I need to hit rock bottom to rise again like the phoenix. I see this sometimes with people that have a strong Pluto signature in their chart, is that there is almost like an addiction to go for these transformative experiences all the time, you know, because people can often chase altered states when what they're really longing for is wholeness. And sometimes when you're constantly in these containers, what you're missing out on can be actually just doing real life stuff and like finding the spirituality in the mundane daily things as well. Because yeah, maybe you're not, you know, you can also be addicted to that. People can be addicted to constantly going to these gatherings, and having these high experiences, but then totally lacking connection in real life. And that can definitely be a shadow of Neptune Pluto together, you know, just like, oh, I can only transform and get these hits when I'm in these deep, profound containers where I'm facing the shadow. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I personally love these containers. But let it not be a form where it's like, oh, it's only there where I can feel whole and alive. It's like, no. Ideally, we also want to feel alive in our day-to-day lives. Not always like this. We don't always have to go into these altered states. How can we also find spiritually in the mundane? Because God is everywhere. And when I talk about God, I mean generator, operator, destroyer. Okay? G-O-D. I didn't grow up Christian, so I don't have that connotation, just to be clear, okay? Unconscious longing for power. I'm sure that these shadow qualities might come to the forefront where you're realizing like, oh, this is why I'm craving this. Like this is why I want this experience in my life. This is why I desperately want to have this job, or this is actually the reason why I want to make money, or this is the reason why I want to have this specific person in my life. All right, it's like, because Pluto is the subconscious, so it can bring the conscious forward, and the material is often icky. It's not always super comfortable. And it can also talk about compulsions here as well. So these are kind of the shadow sides of these aspects as well. For this specific part, I kind of also want to focus about the section on nature, because Rem Butler always also has a section about nature. And it feels so fitting today because I was also in the forest. So he really talks here about seeing nature as divinity, which I always do. God damn. It's like the most beautiful thing ever. I mean, it's impossible to eventually not feel calm in nature. Maybe it depends on where you are, but it is truly breathtakingly beautiful. Sometimes when you're like in the stress and like your life is extremely stressful, and you just go out and you truly take a breather and like really take in what is around you. It's like so beautiful and divine, like the leaves, the small animals, the birds, the insects. It's just beautiful. You know, like, and seeing everything, the decay, the dust blowing away, the wind dancing between the leaves, the sunlight dangling between the leaves, lighting up different sections, some of the ruins, maybe some renewal. That's very Pluto Neptune. Yeah, because, right, I think nature actually really is the biggest teacher in general, but I'm just going to bring it up specifically here because in this instant, it teaches us that decay isn't failure, it's compost. And that we need that decay for new life to blossom again in the springtime. So for me, the core of this is really how spirituality changes once we've stopped trying to escape ourselves. I think Jung also makes a lot of these impacts because, yeah, it's by making the conscious, you know, otherwise it will always run your life and you will call it fate. I kind of butchered that quote, but something along the lines is what Jung said. And really treating, like, you know, not transcendence instead of the underworld, transcendence through the underworld. Sometimes there's this illusion that it's like, oh, we can only just transcend if we go up and up and up. And there's this like illusion, like I just have to like go up and yeah. And it's like, no, it's actually through the underworld. We rise rooted. Can almost go back to the tree metaphor. Yes. So, honestly, guys, this is kind of what I have for the end of the series. As you can see, the videos are getting shorter and shorter again because otherwise I would just be repeating some of the same stuff. So I'm going to end it up here. Thank you so much for following me along. I took a bit way too much on my plate with doing this series. I had a whole vision for this to create this, and I was so enthusiastic, and then everything got way less engagement and views than I initially thought it would. I was like, this has the potential to really help people out there, and then I feel like it didn't really. Or I mean, it always reaches the people that it needs to reach. Like, don't get me wrong, my intention when I create videos is not to go viral. It's for videos and posts and whatever, to always reach the exact people that need to find them. Yet still, if I'm being completely honest, I did see a lot of potential here, and then I was a bit like, oh, what, you know, I guess it's not hitting as hard as I thought it would. Regardless, it was fun for me. Definitely, realized halfway through though that I dished myself a lot on this plate because I've been doing a lot more videos than ever really in such a short period and span of time. And also made me realize that, you know, being a one woman's job, doing this by myself completely is just, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. Even though I don't edit heavily, it's a lot creating more videos. And I'm also creating a lot of things behind the scenes because I'm going to the Croatia get-together, the Astro Croatia get-together that I'm organizing very soon on August 7th. I'm leaving there, so to have content for you guys while I'm away, there's things happening. So regardless, I thank you so much for being here. And if this series, you know, helped you, feel free to share it with someone, leave a like. It really helps out a lot. And I know that there are people that and you know, I can relate because I'm like you, because I have also been watching sometimes videos on YouTube that changed my life, and sometimes I even forget to like, or I don't leave a comment. And yeah, sometimes you don't know how videos impact people. You don't know who's behind the screen watching this, how deeply they've taken in something, because you don't receive their immediate feedback. You don't know what actually happened to them. So regardless, you don't have to comment just because I said that right now. Just know that I appreciate every single one of you that actually clicked on this, that actually watched this. It means so incredibly much to me that this even lands in the collective. So this is officially coming to end. There's obviously many more videos. I'm doing the weekly overviews. There are lots of fun things ahead. We're going to talk about the Aquarius full moon. We're going to talk about the nodes shifting signs. There is still so much great stuff coming up on this channel. So stay tuned, stay subscribed. I love you very, very much. And we're going to talk to each other very soon. Bye.